Every 9th June, Uganda commemorates National Heroes Day in remembrance of its fallen and living patriots. But who exactly qualifies as a hero in this context? That is the question we put to Professor Mondo Kagonyera.
So in my opinion, a hero is someone who has made a very distinguished contribution, either in the politics of a country or its economy.
Although this year's celebrations were held virtually, Kagonyera says there is no disadvantage in observing the day in this manner.
I personally think that Heroes Day is one of the most important days in the history of our country. When we get together and reflect on the people we consider made a contribution to the history of our country.
We also asked him why it is important for the country to celebrate its heroes.
Heroes are men and women who live on long after they are gone. Therefore, it is important that every so often we get together and reflect on who those people are. Remind ourselves about people who made those significant contributions to our country, so that we do not lose track.
While Heroes Day has largely been associated with the former bushwar fighters, Kagonyera urges that the concept of heroism goes beyond those who took up arms.
Omukama Kabalega, the way he stood up to imperialists made him a hero, in my own opinion. And of course, you go into modern times, there are people you would consider, especially in politics. Take a man like Ignatius Musaza.
He further notes that the commemoration should not exclude Uganda's founding fathers, whose contributions, he says, remains significant.
I think everybody who has led Uganda in one way or another could be considered a hero. Of course, you are going to jump to the ground and say, is Idi Amin one of our heroes? But you don't forget the things that man did that we are really in the interests of this country.
For the avoidance of doubts, Kagonyera also highlights former presidents of Uganda as individuals whose contributions to the country cannot be overlooked.
President Rule, even in spite of the short time he led this country, he made some modest contribution. Therefore, I think it's good manners, in my opinion, that each one of the people who have led this country is looked at with as much objectivity as we possibly.
Beyond public commemorations, Professor Kagonyera emphasizes the need to realign Uganda's education system with its historical narrative.
I think it is extremely important that we study our heroes and we see what the character, the way the contributions they make. We find out which of those characteristics are relevant today.
On a lighter moment, the professor also reflects on his personal perspective regarding leadership and personal influence in his lifetime.
As the Chancellor of Makerere University, yes, I have been a Chancellor of Budding University, Kabere University, which is now, which has in a way taken off. Therefore, I think I have also made my modest contribution. I have participated in the politics of the country. I was in Parliament for 18 years, 9 of which I was a cabinet minister, and 9 I was a backbencher.
In this interview, Professor Kagonyera did not hesitate to name his greatest hero, referring to President Kaguta Museveni as a key figure in his life.
A man who has managed the affairs of this country for the last 40 years. I don't think it would be wrong to consider him as one of the heroes.
This year's Heroes Day celebrations were held virtually at State Lodge Nakasero, with President Kaguta Museveni addressing the nation. Robert Nyango, UBC News.
Sacrifices